Kempire is brought to you by...
You all have asked, Kempire, drop the skincare routine. Well, now I am. I am so excited about our new partnership with Buda. I've been following the company for many, many years, and I know a lot of you are probably already familiar with their products. So I've been able to try their products for the last few weeks, and I have to say, I am utterly impressed. I'm not going to go through my nightly routine or my other routines because I have a morning routine, a nightly routine, I have a weekly routine, I have a monthly routine in regards to my skincare. So there is a whole system, but you have to start somewhere. So why not start now? First of all, let me talk about my morning routine. So I gotta wash my face. You have to find the right cleanser, all right? And not all cleansers are made the same. Start with a cleanser, gives me a good lather. Once I'm doing that, another key component to your skincare, don't use the towel that you use to dry your hands or to dry your body on your face. They have these high quality, silky soft towels. You use it once and you throw it out. I love that. It's going to change your skincare routine. Once you're done with that, put on vitamin C. This is a game changer. For those that say, Kempire, your skin is glowing. Game changer. Vitamin C. I will also say this. Because I've tried so many different skincare products, I can tell quality versus not so quality. Quality so far from everything I've tried. There's also a very key component. And then after you've done your vitamin C, it's time to put on your moisturizer. Coco Shea Revitalizing Cream. I love this because I've tried some other companies and I'm not going to name them. Some are too thin or too thick or too scenty. This is perfect. And I do not say that lightly, and I'm not saying that because it's a partnership. I would tell you the truth. If you know me, you know that. Perfect consistency. When I've used this literally today, this woman that I met, she's like, oh my God, you have perfect skin. I can't tell you the amount of times that people tell me that, but here's the final and key component, sunscreen. Very important. And I love the fact that they sent me the perfect system. Sunscreen, Tinted Mineral Sunscreen, SPF 30. SPF 90 you don't need. I don't know why they sell it, but it is what it is. So we've partnered with Buda, and I hope that you will get you a little something. For those that have been asking, what is your skincare routine? I just gave you my morning routine. Stay tuned for the nightly routine and other things. More information on our partnership is available at buttaskin.com/Kempire. All that information will be available in the description. Thanks, Buda.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
And welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Shout out to Buda for sponsoring today's live recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Guys, if you had to rate Beverly Hills' latest episode 14 for season 14, from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? And also, don't forget to let us know where you're watching from. And that goes for our replay crew as well. Shout out to those of you watching here in front of me here on TikTok as well. So if you see me look down, I'm looking at TikTok. If I'm looking over here, I'm probably looking at Twitch and Twitter. But I want to know what you guys thought of last night's episode. I literally watched it last night. I watched it again today. I watched the after show. Look, there's a lot of stuff to unpack. I'm not sure how much I'm going to share in regards to this reunion, but I've heard some things. So I'm just waiting to see and, confirm some stuff. But yeah, we will talk. We will talk maybe today, maybe next week. Not sure yet. Okay, so stay tuned. All right. Last night we did drop a video of my conversation. Normally we don't share what happens at the Kempire After Dark live experience, but we did have a clip of my interview with Stacey Rush. You know Stacey Rush from the Real Housewives of Potomac. We did share last night here on our YouTube channel. So if you've been waiting, like, oh, I'll watch that on Friday, it won't be available for you on Friday unless you're a member. Right now, we've made it open to the public, but I will not be allowing it to public view for much longer. I will be making it available for probably in the next 24 hours, and then it will be for members access only. Team Kempire and Royal Court members, you'll have access for a few days, but Senior Royals, as always, you will have infinite access. Yay! Yes. So if you missed it, go ahead, go like the video. Make sure you go watch it after our recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to all of you. When you see I have a new brand deal or a new sponsor, you go support, or even if you don't support because maybe it's not something for you, you always uplift me. You say, yes, Kempire, get those brand deals. I appreciate that support. Okay, I really, really do, because you guys know doing what I do is a hustle. We can't just rely on ad revenue from TikTok because there ain't none there, or just YouTube. So shout out to those of you that support the hustle over here. We appreciate that as well. And of course, don't forget to show love to our moderators, our King's Guards that are holding us down in the live chat. Shout out to our Team Kempire Royal Court members and Senior Royals as always. And of course, shout out to our subscribers. It is subscribers only live chat. All right. Where do I even begin in regards to this episode? I have to say, Beverly Hills, although they may not have a lot going on and it's not their best season, I'm still entertained. It's not like Real Housewives of New York where every week I'm like, oh gosh, guys, I've got to talk about this show. So it's not like that for me. I'm still enjoying what I'm watching, but at the same time, it's not their best. And I don't know what that could be. Maybe it's because the focus this entire season has been on Dorit's stuff. It's been on Kyle's stuff, and Kyle's not giving us a lot. You know, last week how I defended Kyle, this week I won't be. Because I see right through Kyle. Word on the street, according to OK Magazine, Kyle left the reunion twice. Meaning that she left the stage of the reunion twice because the women were calling her out, saying that people have been talking about Mauricio cheating for years and that they believe that she knew about it. And I'm willing to bet money the people calling her out are Garcelle and Sutton, because I don't think any of these other women are going to be willing to do that. But they didn't say that. I wonder if they're going to find out that other reunion tea that I know about. Right, Garcelle? Right, Bose? I'm going to sit on that for a second. Oh, okay, we'll see. So that's the word on the street in regards to Kyle and what happens at the reunion. And everyone keeps asking, why is Kyle next to Andy? At this particular point, I don't know why we continue to ask that. We know why. It's probably in her contract. They're never going to remove her from that seat unless she's not on the show. I know. I get it. It's a power position. Who cares? I mean, for them, they care. The housewives, they care. It really is like a sorority. They care about those things. In real life, it doesn't affect you or me. It's interesting for us to discuss, like, oh, there goes Kyle again. But fine. Okay. Anyway, so that's the word on the street from OK Magazine about what went down at the reunion. Let's see if more details come out. I did talk a little bit about my speculation over the weekend, and then all of you were like, you're wrong. And then I said, well, maybe she's talking about something else. My sources are deep and strong over there in Beverly Hills. Who knew? Who knew? Deep and strong. Okay. All right, moving on. Let's just start the episode. I will call back to the after show because it just makes the most sense. And why start with the after show when it's called the after show? So episode 14, okay? So at the beginning of the episode, we get these little moments with everyone. One of the moments I think is worth talking about is Jade, Garcelle's son, gets his first comp card. I think he could actually have a promising modeling career. Seeing him walk, seeing the pictures and things like that, he actually could have a promising career. Male models aren't the big thing, but you just never know. They never used to be the big thing, but they could become the big thing, right? Maybe? No? You don't care? Fine. Okay. So he gets his comm card. Fine. Sutton FaceTimes with her mom because she wants her mom to come. As you know, they talked about this before. They talked about her mom coming to her sustainable fashion show for her Sutton brand. Okay. That was a big conversation in the after show and during the show. What the hell is sustainable fashion? I mean, words are things and you can Google them. I think we all kind of get the gist of what it is. The logistics we probably don't know, but I think we kind of get an idea of what the intention behind sustainable fashion is, especially when we talk about fast fashion and what that does to the environment. But okay. All right. Ariana says that Jade's got the face. He's got the face. He's got the walk. I was like, okay, walk. Sidebar. Did you guys see the D Squared fashion show? where Doechii performed, Naomi Campbell walked the runway, and Tyson Beckford, like they stepped right out of the 1990s. Okay, we'll get back to the modeling stuff later because we'll talk more about that. So Kathy Hilton was the star of this episode. And when I say star, it was her quirky, funny moments that stood out to me that made the episode interesting and funny. So Kyle and Kathy are in the car. They're on their way to go get their mammograms. We don't know that initially. So Kyle starts sharing her thoughts about what happened with Mauricio. She doesn't say Mauricio because Kathy says, how are you doing? That's what she says. So she starts sharing. She's like, Jen sent me a text, and she couldn't feel. She lost feeling in her legs when she saw the pictures. And Kathy was like, when she saw what? And Kyle's just like, Mauricio kissing the woman in the airport. I thought that's what she was asking about. She's like, well, kind of. I didn't want to bring it up. Look, here's the thing. And they asked Kathy this about this on the after show, whether or not this divorce has brought her and Kyle back together and closer. And she says, yeah, we get to spend more time together, but I would rather her have her marriage. I like this new chapter of, I don't know what it took for them to get to this place. As you know, they've had an up and down relationship. Some people say it was the Mauricio leaving Rick's real estate business that caused, and taking the clients that caused the issue. We're not going to bring that back up. Okay. And maybe that's what really caused the rift. But no, I think they've had, rifts throughout the years. They're siblings. But I think they're in a better place now because Kathy's showing up for Kyle while Kyle needs her. And I do believe this separation is real. I think the timing of it is strategic. And the fact that Kyle keeps defending Mauricio because the other women believe that Mauricio did this intentionally because Kyle has been out in the media doing music, up in the music video, being a lesbian.
How you doing?
Okay, if you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. Be who you are. So the group is speculating that Mauricio did that photo intentionally. Many people, including Sutton and some of you that have traveled through this airport, have said it's not that type of airport. So now people are speculating that maybe the young woman that he's not even with anymore, I don't know if he's in contact with her anymore, but we haven't seen them together since the airport incident, think that she set him up to do that. Possible, or maybe randomly a Bravo fan happened to be at the airport that day. I don't think it was paparazzi. It probably was a Bravo fan. And they probably were like, oh, boop. Probably one of the gays. Yeah, it was Mykonos, wasn't it? Yeah, probably one of the gays did it. They saw it like, oh, hey, girl. Everybody in their phones. This is not 1992. This is not 1992. So anyone with their phone is a paparazzi at this point. So I know a lot of people are speculating that maybe Mauricio did it. Maybe they called a paparazzi. Very possible. I'm not taking away from that. And I'm not taking away from Kyle being that strategic. Do I think Kyle could be in on it too? Yeah. However, we are in 2025 where everyone and their mother is a paparazzi. Maybe because I grew up in the 90s, I'm sort of like, I'm not that person to be taken. That's why I found it so funny when people thought I was in the club under somebody's table taking video of Andy twiddling some black boy's nipple. I was like, first of all, no, I'm not out that late. I'm in my house. I'm of a particular age now. Okay. Secondly, I'm also, even if I was there, not taking video footage of people like that. I barely take video footage of myself when you guys want to, Kempire, why are you vlogging? I barely remember to do that stuff. So I found that to be fun. But in this day and age, I'm not shocked that someone may have saw Mauricio was a Bravo fan, because you never know Bravo fans. Everyone like, oh, you watch Bravo too? Like, it's like a dirty secret for some people. So the fact they probably saw Mauricio and they were like, oh, Mauricio, I wouldn't be surprised it was one of the gays or, a Bravo fan that is now the paparazzi. JoJo says, doing what? In the club doing what? Let's not relive that. Because the gays the gays, particularly the white one, try to drag me on Twitter. Hey, Twitter. Like I was in the club when you clearly see there is a whatchamacallit behind me, a logo or something on the video. It wasn't my video, fools. I'm doing my job as per usual. So if it was someone else, I'd be doing my job talking about that. But y'all choose and pick when y'all want to be mad at somebody. But guess what? Kempire doesn't care. You're in a room by yourself fighting. By yourself. Okay, I've digressed. Okay. So Kathy and Kyle talk about that a little bit more. Kathy says that she wanted Kyle to bring that up. So then we get to the scene of where they were going. They were going for their mammograms because breast cancer does run in their family. Their mother lost her life to breast cancer. Her mother had missed a mammogram for 5 years and ended up being having stage 4 breast cancer. So they talk about that, and Kyle says that sometimes they do that together, sometimes they don't. And sometimes they do it together just for support. I wonder if they do that with Kim. Is Kim okay? And stop asking for Kim to come back. We just saw a report of Kim not being well. No, Kim does not need to be on reality television, especially in the Bravo universe, because y'all don't take care of people. Y'all just want to use people, not y'all, but you get what I'm saying. Y'all just want to use people for your entertainment. You don't care about their well-being. Bring Kathy back. Bring Katie Rose back. They're not well. And you guys don't make it a safe space. It's not, reality TV is not a safe space for people that are this, in a situation, okay? In addiction, in mental health stuff. It's not a safe space. Because of y'all. I digress. All right. So they get their mammograms. Everything's good with their mammograms. Okay. So Kyle then starts talking more about the Mauricio stuff. She says she believes that Mauricio is freaking out about these photos being out there. Kathy says that, so I didn't realize that Mauricio was a Cancer. That makes a whole lot more sense about those cheating rumors for years. That makes a whole lot more sense now. Yup. Allegedly, I'll say, for legal purposes. But when I found out he was a Cancer and we remember all the rumors about him cheating, I was like, he did that. He did it. He did it. And I know, as Ellie called in yesterday, Kempire, what's your rising? I'm not a cheater. I've never cheated on anyone that I was dating. I can't say the same for them. All right. Anyway, no, Cancer's never cheated on me, but they've lied to me. Look, those water signs are something special. The only water sign that, like, male and female I can rock with is probably Scorpio. But those Pisces men and Cancer men, something special. Hope Renee says Cancers are cheaters. Wait a minute. I mean, maybe not your Cancer. Okay. Esparta says you are too hard on Cancers. Okay. Virgos, please. Virgos rise. Because Virgos rise. The other day, okay, we're taking a major sidebar, but this is my recap. F y'all in the comments. The other day, I decided I need to be with a Virgo. Lie! The lie! The other day, I decided I need to be with a Virgo. Because I always tell you guys, if you're flirting with me, you have to be very obvious with me. And who's the most obvious of the astrological signs that will say what they probably should never say? A Virgo. Yes. Yes. And a Virgo will get my life together in every aspect. And they're earth signs, so they're grounded enough. I'm going to be with a Virgo. They might work my nerves, and I might need to come on here and complain more about them. But I'm probably going to end up with a Virgo. The way I talk about Virgos, though, I'm probably just calling the Virgo. I can't tell you the amount of Virgos around me, the amount of Virgos in the chat, the amount of Virgos that are subscribers, the amount of Virgos that come to the live show, the amount of Virgos that randomly show up in my life when I don't even know that their astrological sign. I was like, that's one of the people that I get like work from. And I was like, so what's your astrological sign? I'm a Virgo. Of course. All right, back to this. So I thought it was funny, though, because Kathy's a Pisces. Kathy's birthday's coming up in like 8 days. I had to look it up. So she's a Pisces. And she's like, what's Mauricio's sign? He's a Cancer. And she was talking about how Capricorn Kyle is actually the stronger one in the relationship. And I was like, you're right. K-Baby says, my face just dropped. Kempire with a Virgo. Gene says, my first real relationship was with a Virgo. He was awful. You have to explain what you mean by awful, because a lot of people can read into you saying awful, meaning like he cheated, he did this, he did that. Taurus Moon says Virgos are great in the sack. All right. Keith talks. Oh, here go Keith. Keith says Virgos are the best. No discussion. All right. See, I started this. Let me focus. So Kathy brings up the conversation of astrological signs, saying that Mauricio is a Cancer and, Kyle is a Capricorn, and she's the strong one for you in the relationship. And she's the strongest one in that relationship. I mean, I never thought about that. Again, we don't know that much about Mauricio, but I was like, okay, that makes sense based off their astrological signs. So Kyle decides in that moment, but Kyle knows what she's doing, but she admits this. I think she admitted this on the after show, that she did definitely change the bio, because she's like, Mauricio's not going to check my bio. He is going to read the tabloids, though. So she changes her bio from wife to, I think she just says mother and, RHBH and stuff like that. Apparently, Mauricio had already taken out husband and father out of his bio. Not husband and father out of the bio? Why did he just take husband? And look, I don't blame Mauricio for living his best life right now, especially with the way Kyle was flaunting Morgan on the show in the tabloids. And it's not like she was just hanging out with a new friend. She was hanging out with this new friend and did a music video where she was being overly sexual and flirtatious with. Now, if the tables were turned and Mauricio was doing that, you guys would feel very differently. Like, I know we bring it up and we talk about it with Kyle, but if Mauricio did what Kyle did, and I know Kyle probably justifies it even though she would never confirm it, well, he cheated on me so bad for years, if you only knew, allegedly. But if Mauricio did what Kyle did with this woman, y'all would be slamming Mauricio like no other. Like, he is the worst. He is disgusting. But no, Mauricio did his cheating and his stuff on the low. Kyle did it out in the open because she wanted to do it out in the open. She was strategic about it. This is why I say I don't believe Kyle half the time. I believe that their truth is there, but I think the timing is very strategic. We don't get what we're seeing is not the truth. It's the truth, but it is smoke and mirrors a little bit. Okay? So Kyle does defend Mauricio. Throughout the episode in the after show, she's like, she doesn't believe that he was the one behind the photos. She believes maybe it was this hua. She didn't say that. I just said it. She believes that was this woman that did it. Kathy says that Mauricio, in her confessional, she likes to take jabs. She takes jabs at Mauricio. Even though in the after show, she does say that she feels for both of them, that she checks up on Mauricio as well. But she says that Mauricio is not in the financial, because she says there's never been any proof or evidence, photos, or woman coming out saying that Mauricio cheated with her. There've just been rumors. And she's like, Mauricio's not in the financial position to buy anyone or to pay anyone off. The jab. We know Mauricio clearly is in the financial position. But when you're Kathy Hilton, who's in a bigger financial position, not that big in comparison to what he's built, but she's like, he's not in the financial position to pay anyone off. That was funny to me, because if we didn't know that Mauricio is in the financial position, it would have been even worse. I think it probably would have landed differently if we knew that he wasn't, like, we knew he was poor or poor in comparison to them. But we know that he's not, so it becomes funny, right? Because if we knew he was poor, like Mia poor, sorry. If we knew that it was like actually poor, then or Dorit poor, Dorit. If Kathy said that about Dorit, we would be like, that was disgusting. But we know that Mauricio was not poor. Mauricio could pay off a side piece. Oh, see, Miss Dancer says, Kathy needs to stop is giving Sutton. It definitely is. But I think because we know that Mauricio isn't poor, Mauricio is fine, that it lands differently. Notice, it doesn't it land differently? But when you really put it flat out and you compare it to another situation, you're like, no, it's wrong. That was a dig. She takes multiple digs at Mauricio, these last couple of seasons. She clearly does not like him. Understandably, when you think about the history between the families, it's fine, but she's still taking digs. Some might say he took some digs in his book and on his reality show too, though. I don't know if I would say, it was a dig, but maybe not the truth. PSM says that Kathy's oddly hilarious. She is. I do think she leans into it, very much like what Dorit says or Porit says. I can't call it Dorit anymore. It has to be Borit or Dorit. Or no, Borit or Porit. I can't call her anything else. So she does take quite a few digs at Mauricio, which, again, I find to be humorous, especially something like that when you know it's not true. Okay? In my opinion. Okay? All right. So she says that we have this they flash back to another scene. We get to see the remodeling of Erica Jane's home. I have to say, it's not my taste, but it definitely looks a lot better because when you look at what she had just sort of like taken from the old house, it didn't make sense. It just seemed like it was useful. Now it feels like a home. Not a home that I would like, but I like it. I have to say, wallpaper is making not a comeback, maybe a resurgence. Because wallpaper used to be a huge thing back in the day. But then people got away from using wallpaper. And I see a lot more people using wallpaper in renovations. And I actually like it. I think he did a good job. It's not my cup of tea, but I think he did a good job because now it feels like a home. And we've talked about this before. When no matter if you're renting, owning, I think you should always invest in making your place feel like a home. I just moved. Literally, once I had the couch in, I was like, the energy felt different. It felt settled. It felt like a home. So, and it's a part of my perspective of what I want the place to look like. And yes, there's still little knickknacks and decor stuff that I'm adding, but now she's had someone come in and add all of that. And probably for her, she'd probably like, I don't have that eye. And he brought it all together with the knickknacks and the sofa and the paint. Paint and wallpaper can make a huge difference. I love the hallway. I like how it came together. Again, it's not necessarily my taste, but I can appreciate the before and the after. They do show more of it later on in the episode. Her mom is also visiting. I was about to say, why does her mother have to sleep with her? Because she's using the second room as her closet with all the stolen goods. Oh, just when you're you're at Erica standing, you're in here yeah, he's saying nice things about Erica. And then all of a sudden, all of a sudden, hey, PSM says, I agree, Kempire. When I lived in New York, I made over my little apartment and got the floors refinished and all. It's worth it. See, that's an investment. And that's part of, I haven't done that with this particular place. I have a house too. So I did that with my house. I did all of that. I haven't per se said I was going to do that with this place just yet. I just wanted to get in. I haven't painted because I was like, let me just settle for a little bit and then decide. But that's how I've always been. I'm also a Taurus, though. Some of you are like, I'm coming in, I'm doing all this thing. I think it's personalities. As my personality, I gotta be there, and then eventually I'm like, I want to change. Even with the studio, I haven't even fully set up the studio, but now, and you guys, if you followed the channel for a long time, you saw how many iterations of the other studio looks like. I had flowers behind me. Well, I had a green screen at one particular point. Then I had all kinds of foliage behind me. And then I had nothing behind me. And then I did this and I did that. And I had all these graphics and blah. So I'm still figuring that out. And this is just my home studio. I am manifesting an actual in-person live audience studio. So, and then we can really play. Can you imagine? Stay tuned. Let's manifest it together. Let's co-create it together. Okay? So back to this. But before back to this, today's live show is sponsored by our friends as well over at Factor Meals on busy days, any sort of busy lifestyle. Factor Meals makes it easy. In just 2 minutes, you can have a dietitian approved, chef crafted, a fantastic meal. As I said, what I also love about them is that they have these 40 plus add-ons that are fantastic as well. As always, ready to optimize your nutrition this year, Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you'll feel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Okay? You can also lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks on the Factor Keto Meal plan based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise. Who's also keeping up, I don't have it in here, with our abs and squats, a challenge that we're doing this month. You can find that on our YouTube post page. And it's a 5th day in, so you can still join. So check that out. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. More information on Factor Meals will be available in the description. So back to this. Along with that, we have this scene with Garcelle and Sutton. So Garcelle goes to visit Sutton. Sutton's, crazy right now because she's trying to prepare for this event this fashion show that she's about to do. And this is her first fashion show. She's like, I've been to a ton of fashion shows, but this is my first fashion show. So Garcelle's there to support her. Garcelle is also excited, and Sutton's excited as well because Jade is going to be walking in the fashion show as well. I think this was his first fashion show as well. Since then, he's done some more. Sutton talks about, they get to the why they're really there to film the scene. They talk about the Kyle and the Mauricio of it all, okay? And the photo. And you already know the speculation that Sutton feels about the photo. In the after show, Sutton and Garcelle not get into it, but they have different feelings on Kyle and how Kyle has handled this situation and how Kyle has handled the relationship that she had with Morgan. And Garcelle's is like, well, don't you think Kyle kind of did this too, but she did it worse? And Sutton seemed to disagree with her. But Garcelle's like, no, look, the music video, the photos. And as you know, after the pictures of Mauricio in Greece, then Kyle shows up at a Morgan concert. Do I think that was strategic? You just never know with Kyle. It probably was. But she's still been hanging out with Morgan. Morgan's been hiding in the back of pickup trucks in photos and crap. I don't get it. It's weird. And now you don't want to talk about Morgan, but you brought her on this show to debut your new friendship. If this is a new friendship, there's no way in hell I'm going to be bringing her on my reality show. And you already know the speculation that's already out there. And I also wouldn't be doing some sort of music video where I'm insinuating like I'm the love interest. Like, Kyle, you want us to feel sorry for you, and you want us to feel sorry for Morgan when she was on this damn show, helped launch her career, because a lot of us didn't even know who she was. And I'm not saying for those of the Morgan fans, the 1, 2, 3 of you, I'm sure you probably knew there are plenty of musical artists like Cynthia Bailey's new boyfriend. A lot of y'all don't know who that is either. Me either. I'm not saying because we don't know it doesn't make them relevant, but a lot of us didn't know who Morgan was until Kyle decided to be hanging around her and then doing a music video to bring more attention to her and then bringing her on the show. Then you want us to feel sorry for you and Morgan. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You want us to feel sorry for you, and I just don't. So Mr. Melanin Badger says Kyle is on the DL. Is she, though? If she is, she's the worst at doing it. All of that banter, the music video, all that banter and flirtation last season with Morgan, now all of a sudden, you want us to feel sorry. Oh my gosh, Kyle. If anything, Mauricio has every right to be setting up paparazzi. Do I think that he really set it up? I'm 50-50 on that. Because like I said before, everybody's paparazzi at this particular point. So anyone could catch you anywhere. Jessica says, I didn't know Cynthia Bailey had a boyfriend. She talks about it on her podcast. That's how I know. She calls him Amsterdam. And people were still black. People were surprised that he was black. Clearly, you haven't been to the Netherlands. There's plenty of black people there, too. Okay. So I wasn't completely surprised by that. I was kind of surprised, not really, because Cynthia has interesting tastes. He's a little bit more of a edgier than what she's dated, but it kind of throws back to Leon, her first, her baby's father. All right. Ariana says the only country music I listen to is Beyonce, so I would have never. I listen to country music, and I wasn't familiar with Morgan, so that also makes it a little bit different for me because I do listen to country music. So, and I've never heard of her. I heard of the other Morgan. I haven't heard of her, but which is fine. But I told you back then that I felt like that relationship was to help her career, and I think that was so like really and then you're playing those games with your kids watching this? Okay. It's that element. We have to remember Kyle has kids. And then she wants to gaslight us. People calling it fake and da-da-da-da. You playing these reindeer games because you want to gaslight the audience and make us feel bad for thinking that this relationship is fake. But at the same time, you're going on and doing a music video which sexually driven, lesbianically driven. Is that a word? And you're gaslighting us? You did that music video. Thanks, Deborah. Deborah says, I listen to country music also. Never heard of her. Which is fine. And when she performed at Kyle's event for her friend that had taken their life, I was like, she's just okay. Not like some of the other black musicians in country music that Beyonce introduced us to, like Shabuzi, who had the #1 song in the country for last year. He didn't have to do anything besides have a great talent and a hit song. He didn't have to do all the antics that Kyle tried to do. Whatever publicist told y'all to do that. Whoa. Anyway. We've digressed. Let me focus. Let me move on. So we have Garcelle and Sutton talk about that whole Kyle and Mauricio situation. They talk more about that during the after show as well. We already talked about Erica and her new home, but Erica later on in the episode talks more about what this means for her. Because at first I thought they weren't going to show her backyard, but they do end up in another scene, her and her mom going into the backyard. She says, she's thinking less and less of Tom, but now his trial is coming up. So now she's not trying to pay attention to it, but she's sort of like paying attention to what's going on with that. As you know, he's been since convicted. Have they done the sentencing at this particular point? I know. What are we going to do with this old man? Y'all let the California bar, y'all let that man get away with murder. Well, maybe not literally, or maybe for decades. If anyone that should be in jail, it's y'all. Damn. Y'all let him get away with it since the 90s, maybe the 80s. Now he's old and decrepit, probably smell a little bit. Poor fashion choices. And now we're supposed to feel sorry for Tom. And he can't go to jail. Whoa. He can't go to jail. Whoa. Okay. Do I believe that Tom doesn't remember who he is or what he did? No. Do I think he may have forgotten some of it? Yes. He's like damn near 90. Okay. Please take a sip. Anne, thank you so much for the super chat. Anne says, Kathy telling us Mo can't pay at this time wasn't lost on me. May have to pop by Kemp Live. Our family house was purchased via the agency. Never again. What do you mean, Anne? What happened? Real Housewives of Miami. I have 2 mutual friends with a certain housewife. Tea is burning. And I expect a DM. I'm looking forward to Real Housewives of Miami. I know the new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta is coming this Sunday. Our recaps will be starting on Monday. I didn't even get a break. And I'm a little perturbed by that because I do need a little break from talking about these fools. Oh, wait, Anne, you sent me a super chat. Let me shimmy. All right. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'm looking forward to Miami. I actually not know, but I grew up with one of the housewives that will, well, I don't believe that they are a housewife, but a friend of the season. But I remember them like in my youthful days. So I know of them. I'm not saying that we are friends. There's no connection, but I remember growing up with them. But yeah. All right. So Erica talks about that. Erica, of course, this season, the last season is talking more about Erica Jane having a lighter season, her, moving forward, getting out of the dark side of what was Tom. Look, two things can be true. She could have not known about what Tom was doing. Do I think she was somewhat complicit? Well, maybe if she wasn't complicit then, she was definitely complicit with trying to keep these earrings that was proven bought with victims' money. So that's where Erica loses me and what Erica has said since that information came out. So I always have to remind myself of that. I enjoy what we're getting of Erica these last couple of seasons, but I haven't forgotten some of the disgusting things that she said in defense of Tom. And I get it. Maybe he groomed her. Maybe she was with him for so long, she convinced herself that everything was what it was. But when people lay out the facts for you, I do feel like she was disgusting in a lot of ways. But do I think that maybe she was also a victim of him? Well, girl, you had no sympathy for the victim, so why should we have sympathy for you? Look, moving on. All right, I don't know. I guess they'll probably during the reunion. I don't know if during the season when they filmed it, if the trial happened. She's talking about his trial coming up, so maybe it does, but I'm sure they'll talk about it during the reunion. Anne says, can't give too many details about the agency as our attorneys got involved, so we're okay. I will give details of a certain housewife if the tea gets spilled. Oh, tell you our sources are, excuse me, deep and strong. Okay, we appreciate it. Okay, stay tuned, y'all. All right. Okay. Let's talk about Dorit and Garcelle's dinner. Who told you at the top of the season that if Dorit and Garcelle, Dorit and Garcelle got together, this would be maybe an iconic frenemy ship? Why was I more entertained by Dorit and Garcelle's dinner than any scene that we've seen with Dorit and Bose? And this is what I've said before. I'm okay with Bose and Dorit being friends. What I'm not okay with is people parading it around like it's this iconic friendship and that we get so many funny scenes from them. No. Based on what we've seen, an edited show, the scenes with Bose and Dorit are not funny. They're not fun. They're not interesting. And I'm not talking about what Bose brings, but yeah, Bose is always interesting and will say poignant things. However, if we're talking about a friendship that's inspiring and it's fun to watch, it wasn't them. I got fun and sometimes funny between Garcelle and Dorit. And I said, wait a second. All right. Here we go. I can appreciate this. I was like, okay. So remember, Dorit apologized to Garcelle during Bose's backyard festivities that she was doing, like the self-care stuff. And she took some accountability. So they finally had a sit down and they talked. And again, a lot of people have said this before, and we're going to say it again. Garcelle has been defending Dorit when it comes to the PK of it all. She has been defending her in regards to she needs support in this situation. And she says she feels like some of the ladies in this group forget, does that include Sutton, Garcelle? Some of the ladies in this group forget that, yes, Dorit is going through a divorce, but she's going through a divorce with very young children, and she can relate to that. And I was like, look at Garcelle having a lot of compassion for Dorit. Exactly. Thank you, Sevi. Even in the after show, Sevi says Dorit and Bose are not even funny or fun, because you don't have to be funny, or fun in the after show. Exactly. K-Baby says, yeah, it's just Porrito venting to Bose. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah. And again, I would be here for it. If I got finally something from Dorit where it's like, oh my gosh, Bose brings out the best in her. She doesn't. It really is just like, oh, I'm in the bed. Bose, Jaga brought up are we getting a divorce? PK hasn't called me. we understand she's going through something. So there will be moments where you have that. But I also don't get fun girl vibes from them. Watch now that we're saying this, next season, producers are going to try and piece together. We got to show more fun between you guys so that people can believe this fake relationship. I don't think it's fake on Bo's side. Or maybe. I think it's strategic on Bo's side. Matter of fact, no, I know it's strategic on Bo's side. On some level, it's strategic on Bo's side. I do think that she, like I said, 100 and something best friends, she's okay with the project. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So Garcelle and Dorit have this conversation, and Garcelle shows a lot of compassion in her confessional for Dorit, saying that, a lot of the women don't have a lot of compassion for Dorit. And she does, because she literally still feels like she's going through it when it comes to her divorce and raising her kids. Okay. So they then move on to talk about Kyle and Kyle moving white from her IG bio. Garcelle brings up how public Kyle was with Morgan. Garcelle says that then they talk about that situation. We talked about it endlessly. I don't feel like rehashing every single detail of what they said. We've already talked about our opinions. If you watched the episode, you saw how Dorit feels about Mauricio being caught out there with a photo, and Garcelle, how she feels about it. But they also talk about how they feel about what Kyle had been doing with Morgan. We already went on a tangent about that. Okay. Then Dorit talks about the situation with Sutton. Garcelle brings up Dorit's beef with Sutton. And Dorit brings up the whole wallet comments. And you don't think that she points to Garcelle, like, you don't think that was cruel? And Garcelle does say, like, you know what? That was definitely mean and cruel, those wallet comments. But Dorit also says that she believes that Garcelle has like rose-colored glasses when it comes to Sutton. And a lot of people say that. And a lot of people say that Garcelle is Sutton's spokesperson. And I think Garcelle will own the fact that, yes, sometimes she is. But they will say, very much like what Sutton said on Watch What Happens Live, that's what friends do. Okay? Dorit made a valid point, though. She says that her and Garcelle, this was a nice dinner. They had a good time. But she says they will never really have a close friendship if Garcelle continues to do the bidding of Sutton. And I can agree with that. But here's the thing, Dorit. I don't think Garcelle cares to have a close friendship with you. I think she's okay being friendly with you. They flash back to the reunion when Dorit asked Garcelle, "Do you want to be my friend?" She was like, I think the hesitation says no. But I think if she said it, she would have been, a lot of people thought she was being cruel. I don't think Garcelle cares to have a deep friendship with Dorit. I don't think you can have a deep friendship with Dorit. So I do agree with Dorit that Garcelle's friendship with Sutton will hinder a closeness with Dorit. However, that's not going to change. Because Garcelle values her friendship with Sutton way more than she values a friendship with Dorit. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, I was far more entertained by this dinner between Dorit and Garcelle than any scenes that we've seen this season between Dorit and Bose. And they talked about, and God only knows how much more of what they talked about. We're seeing a smattering of what they talked about. However, they talked about so many different things, emotional topics, funny topics. Like, they talked about a lot, and I still was more entertained by this conversation, which goes back to what I originally said at the top of the season. I said, if these two could get along, it could be a frenemy relationship that could be actually fun and entertaining to watch. Jason says, it's not nice to call her Dorit Kempire. They called her Dorit on the show. I will continue to call her whatever I want. If you don't like it, you know what you can do. Like, don't come here and police me what I'm saying. Okay? If they didn't say it on the show, maybe I wouldn't say it. But here we are. Ariana says, I actually agree that if Garcelle thought if it was cruel, she should say it to Sutton. Doesn't need to be in front of the group. And maybe she did. We have to remember, we're watching an edited show. For all we know, Garcelle could have said that to Sutton. If you watched the after show, then you saw exactly that moment between Sutton and Garcelle where they didn't agree with each other. And she did say it to Sutton in regards to what they disagreed on. So for all we know, she could have said it and they just didn't show it. Or maybe she said it off camera. We don't know. Just saying. Okay. Miss Parker says, don't try Kemper while you're in the villain era. I told you I was going to turn down the villain era for a little bit. But go in Sutton's comments and tell her, don't call her poor Reed. It's not nice. Okay. Was it nice when she called Crystal a child bride? Was that nice? Leave me alone. Come on. Okay. And mind you, this is probably one of the less problematic places. So can you imagine what they would say if they went somewhere else on these YouTube streets? Lord. Nora says, poor Reed, is that you? No. But you never know. She probably would use a black man's photo to troll us. Whatever. All right. Tutu says, rest in peace to Doritos. Welcome to Porritos. That really shut Dorit up, though, at that dinner table. She was real quiet. Anyway. All right, let's get to this fashion show. But before we get to the fashion show, I am going to drop the call link for members first. It's not a part of the membership. There's all kinds of really cool things a part of the membership, including my Stacey Rush interview that will be exclusively for members after today. So make sure you go check it out if you missed it and you're not a member. But we will be making that exclusive for members. So become a member today at teamkempire.com/slash join. There we go. teamkempire.com/Kempire. All right. All right. Let me drop the call link for our members first before we move on. Okay. And I can't even blame that I'm hungry because I did eat before the live. I did eat before the live. I can't even blame that I'm hungry. I did eat. I did. All right, members, we're going to drop the call link for you guys as well. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the Kempire podcast. We just launched a special exclusive Apple podcast subscription for my recaps of The White Lotus and special episodes. So keep that in mind. We won't just be talking about The White Lotus. I will be talking about other things on the new Apple subscription. For those that have been asking, will this be available on Spotify? Unfortunately, no. So subscribe to our Apple podcast so that you can see this particular White Lotus recaps that we've done. We've already dropped 2 episodes. I will be dropping episode 3, hopefully by the end of this week. And this will also be a place where I share like my random thoughts. So stay tuned for that. Okay. All right. Look, see, Jason says, I'm not going anywhere, laughing out loud. We appreciate it. Jason, you probably are Virgo. You probably can take the slaughter of a read. It's okay. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. Members, we dropped the call link for you guys on the community tab. Live chat. Let's get to 400 likes and I'll drop the call link for you guys as well. Keith Talks, thank you so much for being a member and a Virgo and for the super chat. Keith says, every scene Dorit is bringing up her faux voice. We get it, babes. We didn't even get a good look at her outfit because she started talking about herself. Yeah. But from what I've heard from other people, that's exactly who Dorit is. If anything. See, Jason says, I am a Virgo. And think. I just look. Chris says, Kempire, you have me dying. Let me make this bigger because this seems too small. And we have people of a particular age that watch. So let me make it a little bit bigger. Chris says, Kempire, you have me dying laughing on my way to my excuse me. On my way to my Lake Bailey, on this beautiful is it Ash Wednesday? Oh my goodness. Happy Ash Wednesday. Happy Ramadan. Everyone celebrates. My husband is side-eyeing me. Told him you're cracking me up. What about Denise Richards? I meant to talk about Denise Richards' show. I don't have a lot to say about Denise Richards' show. I thought it was cute. I don't know if it's sustainable, meaning that, like sustainable fashion. I don't know if it's sustainable in regards to I can watch this for many seasons. I thought the first 2 episodes were cute. I don't know. And I'm okay with pre-produced, forced situations because I used to love watching the Chrisleys Knows Best before we knew that they were stealing. I don't have to say allegedly. They're in jail for it. I didn't mind those pre-produced shows. It just wasn't... It was okay. It wasn't bad. It was entertaining. We're getting her kooky, goofy side. We did get to see... You remember the stories. If you followed the Denise Richards of it all. When she was raising those twins that weren't hers, they were her exes. Well, we met the baby's mother on the reality show. We get to see Tori Spelling on the reality show. Camille Grammer is also on her reality show. We're going to see Erica Jane later on in the season. So there is a smattering of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that we're seeing on Denise Richards and her wild things, her kids. And we get to meet her kids. It feels like they're trying to turn the kids. It's like they're trying to do the Kardashian stuff all over again, where you have the mom and then you have the young girls and they talk about the OnlyFans stuff. I'm like, it wasn't bad. It was an easy watch. I meant to talk about it at the top of this show, but thank you so much for the reminder. I thought it was okay. I will probably continue to watch and maybe we'll talk about it during our Beverly Hills recaps. I just don't know if I see a future with the show. And I like Denise Richards. And I think Beverly Hills ruined our image of Denise Richards because we always thought that she was like Saint Denise doing all these things. Despite being with Charlie Sheen, she was like taking care of the kids, doing all the things. But you see that side of her on this reality show as opposed to what they were trying to do to her on Beverly Hills. You see a sweeter side to her. But also not just sweet. I like the advice that she gave to Tori Spelling in, I think, the second episode. So we get to see Tori Spelling. Some people have wanted to see Tori Spelling on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This confirmed for me, no, we don't. For anyone else that watched, I don't need to see Tori Spelling on Beverly Hills. She wasn't bad. It wasn't giving like she would give anything. She's not going to give y'all the fabulous life. She doesn't have her daddy's money. Okay? You want her mother on Beverly Hills. You don't want her. But she is going through a divorce. They talk about that. I liked it. It was decent. Would I prioritize that over watching anything else that I have on my list, like the Traitors season finale and reunion, or the next episode of The White Lotus? No. Philly Jones says, is Denise still married? You do see her husband in I hear there's rumors, though, that they might be separating, but you do see her husband, Aaron, in the episodes. And he's still Aaron. That's all I'm going to say. So Aaron with the great lats. Okay. All right. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. Once we get to 400 likes, I will drop the call link for the general audience. However, we have quite a few members already backstage that want to share their thoughts. But before we get to their thoughts, Sutton prepares for her sustainable fashion show. We get to see everyone walking. Jennifer Tilly is there. Jennifer Tilly was asked by Sutton to walk in the fashion show. She's there for the practice. And she's like, I've walked in so many different fashion shows. I think Sutton forgets that I'm an actual celebrity. She's an actual celebrity. And she's like, normally when I show up for these fashion shows, I show up like 15 minutes before and they tell me where I'm supposed to go. Yeah. Yeah. But, being the Virgo that Sutton is, she's taking control of everything. I thought the fashion show was decent. The fashions, the women had interesting things to say in their confessionals versus what they said on the after show. And here's the thing, Pori. Ain't nobody checking for you. And I've said before, and Kyle tried to take a jab at Dorit and the commentary that Dorit had about her fashion show how many seasons ago. But I have to say, Dorit did look and sound like she knew what she was doing when she was doing that. However, has she had a successful brand? Where's Beverly Beach? And then she collaborated with another brand about designing wedding dresses. We saw that for a season. Where's that at? She took a shot at Sutton saying, because apparently she was accusing Sutton of stealing like designers' designs and then repurposing it. And she's like, no, the designers know exactly what I'm doing. The fashions, especially the men's fashions, I didn't necessarily love, but it was a nice fashion show. She put together a nice fashion show. I like the idea of what she's trying to do, but especially when we talk about what the fashion industry does to the environment, that is what sustainable fashion is what she's talking about. Could she do a better job at explaining it? Maybe she has. I just don't know. Let me say thank you, Anne. Thank you so much for the super chat. Anne says, will DM House deal with the agency, though shady dealings have been made public? I believe them based on personal experience. The Real Housewives of Miami drama is similar to the Lenny versus Lisa, except the housewife is not Lisa in the scenario. Interesting. Well, I'm sure there will be announcing the Real Housewives of Miami's new season soon because they already filmed it. It's already done. So I'm sure they will be announcing it probably closer to Beverly Hills. Probably soon, like in the next week or two. We should see Real Housewives of Miami trailer and an announcement of when their season will air. It probably will air on Beverly Hills night. I don't think they're going to get Beverly Hills numbers. They should. They've had 3 stellar seasons back to back. Dorothy says that sneakers were awful. They were. They were. Okay. So we have the fashion show. Everyone arrives. Kyle's like, I'm not talking to the press because of the whole Mauricio stuff, okay? She talks with Dorit about Mauricio in the photos, and she says she hasn't talked to him about it, but she's like, Mauricio doesn't get jealous. I thought that was interesting. She said it a couple of times. Mauricio doesn't get jealous. She said in the after show, too. How do you guys feel about someone saying that about their husband, that he doesn't get jealous? For me, that was like, it stood out to me. Mauricio doesn't get jealous. Not that I feel like you should get jealous in a relationship because there are unhealthy levels of jealousy, but I also think that there is a healthy level of jealousy in a relationship. And I was like, she kept on saying like he doesn't get jealous. I was like, maybe because he doesn't value you at all, Because she said it so adamantly. He doesn't get jealous, and I was like, And again, I say that not saying that because that could be toxic too, jealousy. But I was just the way she said it stood out to me. Like he doesn't get jealous. Oh, okay. All right. So she says that. Kathy Hilton. So they all are seated. Kathy Hilton apparently wanted to make a little bit of a joke. She goes backstage to talk to Sutton and tells Sutton, how about Dorit MC the show? And Sutton's just like, no, who does that? This is a real fashion show, Kathy. This is a real fashion show. Sidebar, during the after show, Garcelle makes some jokes about how they suck up to Kathy because this is after the comments from Erica Jane saying that people suck up to Kathy because they want to be invited to her parties. Garcelle's like, Kathy had 150 parties this year. I didn't go to any of them. And Jennifer Tilly says, I think it's hilarious that there's this narrative like Kathy Hilton is this god in Beverly Hills and she's like the person that people have to suck up to in order to be invited somewhere. This is coming from Jennifer Tilly, who's been in Hollywood a long time, Garcelle, who's been in Hollywood a long time, and they both found that to be hilarious. But maybe in Erica's mind, who hasn't been to all the parties and hasn't been in Hollywood as long as these two women, feel like that is the narrative, like they're sucking up to Kathy. Anyways, Kathy comes out. Kathy is talking to Eric. She sees Erica's mom and she's like, oh, mind you, the fashion show is starting. I didn't see an indication of the fact. I'm giving grace to Kathy because usually, isn't there some sort of indication that the fashion show is about to start? I know everyone has gathered, but I was sort of like, we didn't hear music. Again, we're watching a show that, probably drowned out the music because of copyright. But I was like, I didn't hear music. I didn't see like a flashing of the lights, something to indicate that the fashion show was starting. So I'm going to give grace to Kathy Hilton. So Kathy's busy talking. And the poor model comes out, and I think the poor model wanted to shove Kathy, but she did. She's just like, and Kathy, and mind you, everyone's like, Kyle, get your sister. She's like, I'm not going up there and bothering. Like, I'm not getting involved in this. So Kathy Hilton is, right? Cindy says, light music, something. Dorit, during the after show, says she doesn't believe that Kathy's as oblivious as she pretends to be. I can agree with that. Anyone else? I can agree with that. But everyone is just laughing at Kathy. Like, Kat, we saw the footage of this already before the season even aired. We're finally seeing it play out on the show. But we've seen the footage when it happened about Kathy being in the runway during the fashion show. Okay. So the fashion show happens. Everyone reacts. Kyle's like, I was actually really impressed. I think she did a really good job. Erica said some nice things, but she's like, I don't think she's going to be winning one of the big fashion awards for her fashion. I thought the fashion was, some things I like more than others. The men's stuff I hated. I didn't like any of the men's stuff. Of course, Dorit had nothing to say about Sutton's fashion show, as she should. I mean, she's probably just happy to be invited. She did say after the fashion show, congratulations. Based off the edit, it didn't seem like Sutton embraced her or said thank you. Based off the edit. Maybe she did and it wasn't shown. I don't know. But she did say hello and thank you to Erica and all the women. Okay. Everyone screamed when Jade walked out. Of course, Garcelle, she said, she was very proud. And she reminds us, for those in the Bravo universe that have no idea who Garcelle was before this, she's like, my first fashion show was Calvin Klein. Let that simmer for some of you folks. Her first fashion show was Calvin Klein. Okay. She started out as a model before becoming a well-known actress, both on TV and in movies. Okay. For those that didn't know. And then, of course, being on this show, she's been a daytime talk show host. She's gone on to have multiple series. They just announced that Survival of the Thickest on Netflix, which she's also has a recurring role. She will be on that again as well. So she's booked and very busy, unlike some who like to pretend to be booked and busy. Okay. All right. Anyway, so they watch the fashion show. Everyone reacts to the fashion show. Sutton just feels relieved. She was very nervous up until that. She wanted to go off without a hitch. And you could tell she was nervous. She's like, oh, fine. I don't know if anyone's bought anything from her sustainable line. I haven't. I did see Giorgio from Giorgio Says, when I saw him at BravoCon, he had bought one of the shirts. And it actually was like a nice quality tee that he had bought. And he was the first one to tell me about her sustainable line back then. And that's over a year ago. So, but yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I would probably rate it an 8. I thought it was interesting. Kathy, for me, was like the standout breakout star per usual. I love the quirky, funny moments that we got from her. I did watch the after show, and that's where we see them talk a little bit more about the episode. I'm trying to remember if there's anything. I actually took a couple of notes that I wanted to bring up. Okay, I brought that up. I talked about that. All right, so I talked about all the things. Yeah, I talked about all the things that I wanted to talk about that were in the after show that coincided with the episode. Guys, we're almost at 400 likes, but we have over 1,000 of you watching on multiple platforms. So be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. I am going to drop the call link once we get to 400 likes. However, we have quite a few members that are backstage that want to share their thoughts on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. All right. And if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know that you're part of the replay crew, where you're watching from, how you would rate this week's episode, and what you thought about this week's episode and what you're looking forward to. Okay, let's move on. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.